Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Darrin Goodman with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson. Today I want to show you a easy 12-bar blues using a slide in open G tuning. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is put your guitar into open G tuning. So the 6th string, we're going to tune that down to a D. And then your 5th string, you're going to tune that up to a G. 4th string stays the same as a D. 3rd string stays the same as a G. 2nd string stays the same as a B. And 1st string tuned down to a D. Alright. And then this is like really kind of aimed at the beginners who are, just really new to working with slide guitar. So I'm using a metal slide. You could use glass. I just like the way the metal one sounds, especially on this guitar. As far as a guitar, what I've done here is that this is just like a really cheap acoustic guitar, and it's great for playing slide. It doesn't you don't have to have one that's just like perfectly set up. Like I said, this is a really inexpensive guitar, and the action up here towards the higher end is a little high, but it works really well for slide. So when I use the slide, I put it on my 4th finger. You might, maybe it's more comfortable if you have it on your 3rd finger, but I just personally prefer it on my 4th finger. So the technique when you're using the slide is that you want to have your other fingers, you don't want just the slide, because then you get the other strings making a lot of racket that you don't want. So if you just take your other fingers and just rest them on the string, so that way when you play a single string, you don't hear the other notes, or the other strings rather, making a bunch of noise. So you just want to rest them so that way you can isolate just the notes that you want to be playing, single notes. In this case, we're playing multiple notes at the same time. All right, so we start off just by strumming all of the strings open. Then you're going to strum again, so that's like an 8th note. So it's like 1, and then on the end of 1, you strum just the first 4 strings open. So 1 and then I just use my 2nd finger here. I'm going to go to the 3rd fret on the 1st string, and now I'm just going to strum the first 4 strings, but I'm also fretting the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Now I strum the first 4 strings open, and now I move that note from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, and I use my 1st finger. And then the strings open again. So that's like 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then my 2nd finger goes to the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and I'm going to pick that and slide up a half step to the 4th fret. And these are 16th notes. And then I follow that just with the first 2 strings open. So that's the first measure. So you just have the and then that repeats. So you have the first 4 measures, first 4 bars is just that. So this is the, would be your 1 chord. Alright, so now for the 4 chord is where we're going to use the slide. You're just going to slide up to the 7th fret, or excuse me, not the 7th fret, the 5th fret, and you're going to play just the first 4 strings. So where you position the slide, like if you were just going to bar across those strings, you'd put it in the middle of the frets just like normal. But with the slide, you don't want to be back in the middle. because then you'll be slightly flat. So you want to bring the slide up so you're right over the bar. And do a little bit of like vibrato back and forth a little bit, so that way, you know, it just sounds a little bit sweeter, and that way you're not just sitting on, in case you're just slightly flat or slightly sharp, you're not just sitting there, because that, you know, doesn't really sound very good. So when we do the slide there, we're playing a whole measure of eighth notes. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then slide out. So coming out of the previous part, and then you do that same little lick again. So we're back to the 3rd fret of this 3rd string, and then back. So that's bars 5 and 6. So far we have two more bars of the 1 chord. Now we're going to do basically the same thing that we did to the 4 chord, but we're going to go to the 5 chord. So now we're going to slide up to the 7th fret, and then back to the 4 chords, back to 5, and then follow it with that little riff again. So going, starting where we go to the 5 chord. And then this leads us into our turnaround. So for the turnaround, you're going to take your first finger and you're going to bar it. You're going to bar it across the 1st and 2nd string at the 3rd fret, and then put your 3rd finger a half step above, so on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. And now you're going to strum the first 4 strings, so the 4th string is open. Whoops. You just simply move that down. So first finger's on the 3rd fret, 2nd finger's on the 4th fret, and then move it down a half step. Move it down a half step again. And then just follow that with the strings open. And then you can just simply just start over again. So just like all other 12 bars, you can just play this in a continuous loop. So the entire sequence. All right, so I hope you liked that lesson and you got some benefit out of it. I'm not by any means would consider myself a really great slide player, so I think this is, you know, a really good way to kind of get into it. You know, there's things that you can play in standard tuning with slide, but it's much easier to play it in an open tuning. So open G is a good one. Open E is also a good one. So that way you can, you know, you can play chords and make melodies and stuff with, you know, only having, you know, use of, you know, your other, you know, like in my case, my first 3 fingers. If you're on your 3rd, you know, if you're using it on your 3rd finger, then you've only got your first 2. So that's one of the reasons why I like it here, and the slide is just more comfortable for me on this finger. So if you like this lesson, be sure to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below if there's something you'd like to see either myself or one of the other instructors at guitarcontrol.com do in a future lesson. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get updates and all the new lessons that we publish throughout the week. All right, so that's all I got for you today, so until next time.